From Relay, this is Connected, episode 520. Today's show is brought to you by Ecamm, ZocDoc, Vitally, and Backblaze. I am the returning Ricky Benchman, Mike Hurley, and I would like to introduce you to Federico Vitici. Hi, Federico.
I don't know, you could have gone longer with
Okay,
your
Ricky Benchman!
He's struggling.
I'm in a hotel room, man. What do they think is going on in here?
Impressive vocal cord skills.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you. I'm going to go pass out now.
I wanted to ask you, how's your throat doing? But
Fine.
Fine? Okay, cool.
Yep. In general, doing fine.
Impressive
Less
skills.
now, probably. But
that's why you are a
before.
professional podcasters. You know.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
'Cause I can hold a note.
Yeah. We're also joined by Stephen. Hello, Stephen Hackett. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I suppose that your vocal cords, given everything, are not as impressive as Mike's.
No, I'm teetering on the edge of I got a bunch of water here. Let's just say that.
Right.
What
right.
is everything?
Well,
The pro show.
Oh.
Yep. Stephen, come on, you know the context. Vocal cords are barely staying attached together at this point, right?
It's like the rest of him, It's just like...
Jeez.
That wasn't fair. But, you are old, so...
Yeah.
It's true. Hey, guess what?
Yeah. What?
Guess what?
What?
It's still September.
Hey!
You were just here in Memphis,
I was.
and we hosted the podcastathon for 12 hours on Friday. If you have not seen that, there's a link in the show notes to a YouTube video that, just call in sick tomorrow and watch it. That's what I say.
You could do that.
Or, slowly in chunks over the
Or
weekend.
wait till the weekend.
Yeah, wait till the weekend. But we are still raising money for St. Jude all month long. As of me talking right now, we're at $852,000 for St. Jude on the month.
Let's go.
I know. It's
That's
unbelievable.
incredible. What was our previous record?
776,000.
So we're like nearly $100,000 over that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're staring. We're like in a staring contest, kind of staring at 900.
I know.
I feel like we're just staring at it.
Connected listeners, stjude.org/relay. Go type that in your browser, make a donation.
Mm-hmm.
Any size donation is helpful. It takes all of us to advance this mission. So what does St. Jude do? St. Jude is in the business of saving kids' lives. They believe that no child should die in the dawn of life from cancer or other catastrophic disease. And they have implemented a massive number of some of the smartest people on the planet to beat this thing. Mike and I have been fortunate to meet different researchers and doctors over the years. And to a person, not only are they way smarter than Mike and I, but they are all, to a person, committed to this no matter what. They are doing their life's work at St. Jude. And I don't want to paint the picture that St. Jude is just like this cold research institution, because it's not. Research and clinical care go hand in hand at St. Jude. They are working on these cures for actual patients, and not just the patients here in Memphis, but patients all around the world through St. Jude Global. One thing we talked about during the podcastathon was that St. Jude is unhappy that there are kids around the world who don't have access to things like chemotherapy, and they are hard at work to change that, to get these medications and these protocols implemented around the world. It's absolutely incredible, and it's all possible because of people like me and you who donate what we can. So go to stjude.org/relay. We're already in what I've been calling uncharted territories in all capital letters as I text it around to people. But we want to keep going. We have the rest of the month, so please go give now.
Yeah, stjude.org/relay.
A little PS for you, Mike.
Please.
A lot of people who have given probably have jobs, and a lot of companies have matching donation program. So if you're in a company, go ask HR or somebody in the company somewhere. A lot
Ask
of companies.
the person that sits next to you. Maybe they know.
Maybe they know.
Maybe
Probably
they know.
HR.
Just turn around right now and say to the person next to you, just say they, do they do corporate matching? and just see what they say.
Do what they say. So stjude.org/relay has a lot of information about that, but that's a great way for your money to go even further. So if you've already given, or if you're still planning to give, look into that. A lot of companies offer this, and basically you're sometimes doubling your money without any extra work. So go check that out too. Follow up. Andra wrote in.
Follow up.
Oh, God. Not again.
Andra wrote in. During the introduction at the beginning of each episode, the host that is not currently holding any chairmanship should be addressed as Mr. to rub it in a bit more.
Oh.
And of course, this should only be applicable when introduced by others, not by themselves. So what I think we should do is we should try this on. So let's try the introduction again. And Mike, we'll use Mr. and we'll see if that feels better or worse.
All right. Hello, I'm the Ricky Benchman, Mike Hurley, and I would like to introduce Mr. Federico Vitici.
Yeah, that works. I mean, it sounds fancy. In fact, I would argue I sound better than anybody.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Mr.
doing what
Federico
it's supposed
Vitici.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing me a favor.
Yeah, it feels like I'm giving him a title, and the title is Mr.
Yeah.
Federico,
You know?
introduce me as Doctor. Let's see how that sounds.
And we're also joined by Dr. Stephen Hackett.
Oh,
Hello, Doctor.
boys.
Okay.
Boys, that's good. I like
you
that
see,
a
but
lot.
that's not what you get. You don't get that. You got to win that. You got to win a doctorate. All right, that's
Hey,
how it works.
hey,
you got to
hey.
win that.
Okay.
What?
I'm just speaking to my old journalism professors.
Mhm.
Hey, University of Memphis. I would like to be an honorary doctorate in journalism. Please get in touch, Stephen at relay.fm. Okay.
I mean, I've said this before, I think, on this show, that I do believe you should be given an honorary doctorate from the University of Memphis.
Yeah, come on.
Surely you are the most popular person who's ever come from Memphis. I don't think there's anybody else.
But, I mean, there was that guy, the singer, right?
No, Steven's more popular than him.
I mean, also, Stephen is alive, so, there's that.
So is
yeah.
he.
Okay, well played. Well played.
Oh,
Well played.
man. That was good.
Yes.
Well played.
Where is he, do you think?
He's just hanging out. So, Andra, thank you for your suggestion. I think we're going to skip it. But Andra did close their message saying, hope somebody makes your day the way you do for us. And that felt pretty good.
Oh.
Oh.
It's nice.
You know what, though? This makes my day, though. So.
It does.
You know what?
makes-
I don't think that's possible, though. I don't think anybody can make my day the way we make other people's days.
Oh, okay. That's a different energy than the one I took, but I appreciate it anyway.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, our energy is about to be ruined anyway. It's all about to be destroyed.
Green Gate.
No.
Woo!
Why are we here again? Why are we here again?
I'm sorry because I played a role in this and I couldn't help myself.
Disgusting.
I don't know. I was browsing Reddit as I do every night at the end of the workday. And I guess the algorithm got me because over the course of a few days, it suggested 2 posts from 2 different users with 2 types of green-related display issues.
You're green pilled.
I have been green-pilled against my will, I suppose. But yeah, Steven,
I don't
can you...
want to get into this, but the second link is it's an all green screen, and the first comment is that a new MKBHD wallpaper?
Damn. Oh.
It's pretty good.
That's
pretty good.
I just saw the comment.
That's
That's
pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Look,
that's
we'll just have these links in the show notes. You can go explore it if you want to, but Green Gate never dies.
I have a question about this. That's
Mhm.
not for you. Maybe you know. But I would love somebody to let us know. Why does this happen? Why is green the color? Like, why is green the color that these phones go when something goes wrong? Like, is it something to do with the screen? Like, the G and the RGB? Is it stronger or something? Like, what is happening? Like, why is it always green? If anybody knows, connectedfeedback.com.
I have.
Oh, Steven knows.
I have a
Steven knows.
theory. So
Okay.
the OLED pixel arrangement that Apple uses is like a diamond layout, and you have blue at the center and then red at the corners and green on the sides. And I think the way the green is, like the green lines up vertically and the blue and red don't. They like pass through each other as you go. So I think if you're going to have a vertical line, chances are it's going to be green.
Now, I don't know how you know that or if it's true, but it sounds very impressive.
I'm putting a link in Discord right now.
Okay. But like that was very impressive. If you looked this up, is that why?
I remembered that the OLED layout was a diamond, and then I Googled it real quick and discovered how it looks.
Shines bright like a diamond. Or green. Shines green like a diamond. I would like to give a public service announcement to listeners of this show, because about 2 or 3 days ago, I remembered that you can use stickers as tapbacks now, because they're essentially emoji. So it is possible now in a group thread to have custom emoji. And what I think happens, correct me if I'm wrong on this, if in a group, if one person sends that sticker as a tapback, it then shows for other people in the frequently used one so they can use it as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is so good because you can make stickers of anything that you find, and then you can use them as tapbacks. So you can essentially have your own custom emoji in your chats, which is wicked. I love it. And I haven't said wicked since 2004.
Wicked.
So
Wicked. It's wicked.
There you go.
Well, speaking of wicked,
okay.
iOS 18.1 and macOS Sequoia 15.1, the current betas, have enabled drag and drop when using the iPhone mirroring feature.
Is it wicked?
It's sick.
It's wicked. Wicked sick.
Wicked sick.
This is cool. I've used the iPhone mirroring a few times. Because I installed Sonoma like a week or two ago, or whenever it came out. I don't know. I genuinely don't know how long I've been away from home at this point. Feels like the longest trip I've ever taken. But I've found it really, like today, I wanted to get something from my phone, and my phone was charging on the other side of the hotel room, and I just opened it up on my Mac instead. What a great feature. Just like a helpful little feature to have. Very happy about it. It'd be even better when I could drag and drop things.
I've been using it a bunch, and just today I needed an image off of it, and iCloud photo library was just like, I don't know, there's no new photos here. Don't worry about me. And I was like, you know what? Come on, this would just be super simple. So it's great, and the iPhone mirroring feature is pretty awesome. And we went into it in a lot of detail on this upcoming MPU about how it works and some of the security stuff, but it's been integrated into kind of how I work really pretty quickly.
Good. I look forward to hearing it.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Ecamm. Ecamm Live is the leading video production and live streaming studio built for the Mac. Ecamm does all aspects of video, not just live streaming, so it's perfect for simplifying a bunch of your workflows. It's easy enough to get started quickly, but powerful enough that you can create just about anything with video, and you can do it all with the Ecamm app. My favorite feature about Ecamm is that it is super native to the Mac. It understands window layering and bringing in audio and video, and it just feels great on Mac OS. A lot of tools like this, quite frankly, they don't. They don't feel like they're built by people who understand the Mac, and Ecamm is. So whether you're streaming, recording, podcasting, or presenting, everything's there in Ecamm, including support for multiple cameras and screen sharing, and a live camera switcher that lets you direct the show in real time. Stand out from the crowd with high-quality video. Add things like logos and titles, lower thirds and graphics, or share your screen, drop in video clips, bring on interview guests, use a green screen, and so much more. Ecamm Live does it all. And Ecamm for Zoom is now available for everyone at the Pro level plan. So you can automatically send Ecamm's live audio and video output into a Zoom meeting, webinar, or event, and add up to 8 Zoom participants as camera sources in your broadcast or recording. Plus, you can automatically create individual participant audio and video recordings and add Zoom chat messages to your broadcast or recording as text overlays. Ecamm's members are entrepreneurs, marketing professionals, podcasters, educators, musicians, church leaders, bloggers, and content creators of all kinds. Get 1 month free today at ecamm.com/connected and using the code CONNECTED. That's 1 whole month of Ecamm Live at ecamm.com/connected and use the code CONNECTED. Our thanks to Ecamm for the support of the show.
So we have new iPhones, the
Mhm.
three of us, collectively. We all have new phones. Just as a recap, we went into this purchase season. Mike, you were gonna get the 16 Pro. Steven and I were gonna get the 16 Pro Max. We've had these phones for 5 days, I want to say.
Yep.
And I just kind of wanted to go around and collect some first impressions, some thoughts. And I wanted to start with Mike because it's been a lot. It's been a decade that you
It's been
haven't.
a decade, yeah.
It's been a decade, like exactly 10 years
Uh-huh.
that you haven't used a smaller iPhone than the biggest model, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're using a 16 Pro. How is it after 10 years of Plus/Max Club?
Honestly, I really like it.
Mm.
I
Why?
like it a lot. It feels, this is weird. I can't tell you why, but this feels like a toy to me.
Mm.
Like it being small is fun, and like I'm using it differently. It feels great in my hand. It feels like just like a great size. I'm able. The only downside that I've had so far is typing with two thumbs is a little clumsy. I'm a little clumsy doing that
Mhm.
because they're kind of like banging into each other a lot. But one-handed, fantastic. I love it using the camera control because I can just very easily handle the phone in one hand, taking my photos. And I don't feel like I don't have enough space to do things. I feel like my text is too big, but I'm already on the lowest dynamic type.
I also noticed that on Sylvia's 16 Pro. Like,
Okay.
that it seems like the text is too big. And I don't know if maybe there's like a different proportion between the smallest size on the 16 Pro and the smallest size on the 16 Pro Max, but it's
Yeah.
also something I noticed and I don't know how to explain it.
So it's just weird. I don't know if it's like a scaling thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if the Pro Maxes have a different scaling. I know that was a thing with the Pluses at one point, but yeah, I'm loving it. Like I'm very happy with the decision. I feel like I made it at just the right time, right? Because this is the biggest the small phone has ever been, and also I got to Jason had review units of everything, and I do think the Pro Max is maybe too big for me now. Like I think it is bigger than I want. Like it feels kind of wild, and so I'm very happy with the decision that I've made. I think I've got a real nice sweet spot for what I'm looking for.
Steven, how's the 16 Pro Max going?
Yeah, I think I'd echo basically everything Mike said. I had
no, just clarification. Steven has a 16 Pro as well, not a Pro Max.
Yeah.
Oh, 16 Pro, not Pro Max.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went down a size as well. I also have the desert color because I said I'd buy the brown one, and people reminded me of that. It's nice. I mean, I had a 15 Pro as a development phone over the summer, so I was familiar with the size, and it does take some getting used to, but it is remarkably more comfortable to like manhandle one-handed than the Pro Max, which I could do, but it was kind of at the edge of what I was comfortable with a lot of the time. And it takes up a lot less space, like in your pocket, or you got to stuff it somewhere in your car when you're driving, that sort of thing. So, all in all, I've been happy with it, and I think I'm just about used to the size compared to the bigger one. I think a few more days, and it's gonna feel like this is just what iPhones are.
So, I got a 16 Pro Max, right? And I used it for a few days, and so I'll cut to the chase.
Here we go.
I decided to go with the 16 Plus.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm doing the thing. I'm not
oh,
yeah. I am not gonna use the Pro anymore.
why?
So a variety of reasons. Most of it comes down to the joy of the different texture and the different color of the
Okay.
16 Plus. But there are also other reasons. So, like you, Mike, I have felt that the 16 Pro Max has maybe gotten too big and heavy. Like there was a threshold for me, I guess. And I think that threshold was last year's size.
Yeah.
Look, I love a big screen, but I feel like it's gotten past the tipping point for me. And also like the weight of it.
I just had to check because I don't, in my mind, I had just assumed the Plus was as big as the Pro Max,
Nope.
but it isn't. They diverged this year.
Mm-hmm.
So the Plus is the same size as last year's Pro Max, and this one has got bigger. Okay.
And it's also 30 grams lighter, which may not seem like a big deal, but actually for a device that compact and dense, it is something that you can noticeably like feel.
Oh yeah, I mean we had that last time, right? When they put the titanium in, like it didn't seem like it would be a lot of weight, but in your hand, it really made a significant difference.
What color did you get?
Ultramarine.
Ooh,
sick,
good choice.
So good. It's so good.
No case.
Obviously, and if you're gonna get a phone that looks like this, why would you put a case on it?
Exactly. I'll get to this in a minute. But there's the bigger conversation. There is also like something that we discussed a couple of weeks ago. That idea of now more than ever, it feels like some features of the Pro phones are actually for pro photographers and video creators and the kind of category of user that I'm not. Now, the only way that this was possible for me to even consider was the fact that the action button and the camera control are on the base 16 models. Because I felt like without those two buttons, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Because I wanted to have those features and play around with them. Even just like from a pure, like, I want to have a complete version of iOS that has these two buttons. So the fact that the camera control and the action button are not exclusive to the Pro, that was a big deciding factor for me. Then, like, for a couple of days, I basically installed like my backup from the 16 Pro Max on the 16 Plus, and I used them side by side. And I noticed that I get more joy out of having this slightly smaller big phone and slightly lighter and very colorful iPhone. I get more joy out of that than I miss ProMotion, always on display, or the third lens in the back.
Okay.
I would say that the thing I'm gonna miss most is the 5x lens. Like even more than I've never been like that huge on always on after all. Like I've used this phone for a while and it's fine. I've never been like, I can live without it. I always wear an Apple Watch. I always have a way to tell the time. Important notifications, they will always get delivered to my Apple Watch anyway. So I've never been a huge fan of always on widgets on the lock screen. Like I have pretty basic stuff there, so it's fine. And yeah, so basically the combination of it being slightly smaller and in line with last year, being lighter, being colorful, like it's more fun. And I think there's something about the fact that a lot of those pro features on the phone, I don't really need, like 4K at 120. I'm never gonna use that. Like never really.
Yeah.
And I just prefer having a big phone that is more portable, that is more fun. I love the aluminum texture. Like I actually prefer the texture to the titanium personally. And yeah, I don't know, there's something about it that makes me enjoy using the phone more, I guess. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's
cool.
It's kind of unexpected, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to be really interested to see how this goes for you over time, right? Like, it's the same as me and the same as Stephen. Like, we're all making big changes this year. And, like, they're fun and novel now because they're new. And, like, how are we going to feel as time progresses?
I think there's a part of me that is also getting ready for the fact that next year, I know I will want to get the iPhone 17 Air or whatever, Slim, whatever it's going to be called. And so this idea of accepting that it's okay not to have the high-end, top-of-the-line Pro model, that it's okay for the kind of iPhone user that I am. And I've been thinking about this a lot. The computer that I consider my main computer, that I get my work done, where I need maximum power, high-end, is the iPad. And that's where I want to get an iPad Pro. Like it's my job depends on having that computer, and I love using it. But just like when I used to be a Mac user, I was fine with the MacBook Air. I think I can be fine as an iPhone user not having the equivalent of a MacBook Pro, right?
Yeah,
I can be fine just having a colorful iPhone that still is going to have an A18. It still has incredible specs, but being okay with the idea that I don't have to be a pro user on the phone, I think that's been a big reveal for me over the past few days.
I mean, it's interesting. There is also a rumor that next year the ProMotion display is across the line.
Exactly.
Yeah, which because of that new weird model.
To continue that analogy, I've also accepted that I prefer using regular AirPods instead of AirPods Pro. And I feel like as a consequence of my job over the past few years, I've sort of conditioned myself into thinking, well, I'm an Apple blogger, I'm a podcaster, I do this for a living, I always need to get the best version of everything. But it turns out that sometimes maybe I was doing it more for this is going to sound stupid, but I'm going to say it. Sometimes I was doing it more for the reputation rather than the actual enjoyment of the device. And it turns out I'm totally fine with the base AirPods, and I'm totally fine with the base iPhone.
No, I think you're not representing yourself fairly enough.
No.
I think you're doing your job, right? You're testing out all these things, which is what we're doing now too. It's like
no, but there is an element of surely you are gonna get the Pro, right? Like there is an element of that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be true necessarily.
Think, true. Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is, I'm doing the thing as a man of the people. I'm doing it. I'm using the base iPhone model, and it's so fun. And in a way, missing the 5x camera. This is something that Brandon hinted on Mac Stories with this blog post about like this similar idea. He eventually he ended up going iPhone 16 Pro. And
that
I
was
didn't.
so funny to me which last episode, amazing episode. But that was so funny. He wrote that whole thing and then was like, no, I like the gold one.
But like this idea of like actually missing a camera can, in a way, sort of force you to be more creative with the limitations that you have. And I think it's something that I believe in. Like I've noticed already, like I only have the 1X and the cropped 2X, I guess, on this phone. And I'm not going to get the same shots that I used to get before. But I can get a little creative, Maybe when I want to get close-ups of my dogs, I'm going to actually physically get closer to my dogs to get a good picture. And it's fine. I don't know. It's different. It's a fun experiment. I love just looking at this phone because it's not boring. So yeah, there's my small surprise, I guess.
Well, it's a plus surprise, really.
Yeah, if anything, Plus Club lives again, right?
It does.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by ZocDoc. There are some things in life that are okay to be totally terrible, like trying a new type of milk in your coffee or rolling the dice on a new workout app, or maybe mixing it up with a new takeout spot. But finding the right doctor, that shouldn't be risky. And with ZocDoc, it's not, because you've got more options than you know. So ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors and choose the right one for your needs. And then you click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care, skin care, and so much more. Plus, you can see their actual appointment openings, choose a time that works best for you, and click to instantly book a visit. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen quickly, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. So if you've moved or you have something new going on or you're just looking for a change in your healthcare, ZocDoc is a great place to start. So stop putting off those appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/connected to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/connected. Our thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring the show and all of Relay.
Are we controlling our cameras?
Yes, kinda. I will echo something that Jason mentioned on Upgrade. Great episode.
Thank you.
Actually, both the last two episodes, both the anniversary one and the one about the iPhone first impressions, excellent episodes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jason said something that the moment I heard it, I was like, yeah, that's it. That's how I feel. Like the touch bar vibes of the camera control. The moment he said it, I was like, yep, that's how I've been feeling. And I was lacking the words to express it, but this is how it makes me feel. Like I love the button for launching the camera and taking a picture. I find everything else so fiddly and so over designed right now. I hope that this camera control gets a better treatment over the years, over the next few months, ideally, than the touch bar ever did.
Well, I think it will because it's on the iPhone, right? So like
that exactly. Yes.
they're not going to leave it be. I mean, I will echo the point that I made to Jason's point again, where I feel like it is fiddly, but unlike the touch bar, like the touch bar's always there, right? Like doing its thing, it's always there. The settings of the camera control, so like the light pressing and getting the settings and stuff, you very rarely need to go into them. Like for me, I have it set to allow me to change the camera that I'm using. And like for that alone, it is useful. But I do appreciate it is the fiddliest thing that I've used on an iPhone in a long time. Like I think that they do need to kind of tidy up the amount of effort required to move between options. I also think that there's just some labeling that is confusing to me. Like I like the photographic styles thing in general, but like it's very confusing to me that the camera control has two separate options and the editing system doesn't. Like the camera control talks about tone as a specific thing that is separate to photographic styles, but if you look at photographic styles in the UI, tone is part of the style. So like that is like very confusing to me. Photographic styles in general is confusing. I love the feature, but the way that they are packaging it is peculiar. Like you can go into the settings of the camera app and you can like do this little wizard where it lets you pick a photographic style, but they only show you half of them, the undertones ones, rather than I think they're called mood. They don't show you those as options, which is like, so are they all photographic styles? Like why do some of them get shown in this area? Like it's confusing. A lot of this is fiddly and complicated. Maybe that's by design. I do think they could do work on all of these things to tighten them up, but I'm happy it's all there. But yeah, it could do with some work. And I'm also intrigued, Federico, like if third-party apps that integrate camera control might do it in a way that feels better for you, which could be interesting.
No, I mean, if you ask me, I think this button should be in iOS 19. This button should be repurposed for everything. Like, don't just let me use it as a camera control. Let me use it as a general control in all kinds of apps. Like I want to be able to use the quote unquote camera control button in Ivory. Like let me program this teeny tiny button that supports gestures in all kinds of apps. I think going forward, limiting this button to just camera stuff will be a mistake. I think there's an opportunity here. There's a real opportunity here to turn this into the big brother to the action button in a way. But even if it stays limited to just camera control, I feel like Apple should go all the way and allow, like, there's a world in which I use camera control, even just for exclusively camera stuff. If Apple would let me just, for example, assign shortcuts instead of navigating a menu in camera when you double click and then you gotta scroll and the scrolling is weird and fiddly. Just personally, I would love to just say, okay, double click and I don't know, let me toggle between 1x and ultra wide. Like, let me specifically assign things that I know I use on a regular basis, because this entire menu and nested menu navigation is just weird and clumsy, and I might as well use my finger, which is a more precise input method than carefully swiping on this thin strip of a button, right? So let me assign shortcuts to things that I frequently do in the camera, and then at that point we can have a conversation. And like, I want to use that version of camera control, but more broadly speaking, iOS 19 or iOS 20, and I cannot believe that I'm uttering these words like iOS 20. It sounds totally ridiculous, but here we are. It's in theory, it's only a couple of years away. But like this interface control system could be so much more on a device where so far the only input method has been touch. I feel like there's a fascinating opportunity to use this element that can click and half click and scroll in a way that goes beyond camera. But for now, it's just camera. But even just for the camera stuff, I think it should be more customizable. So that's my take.
I think it's just too fiddly. I mean, I wrote in my post-event blog post that it felt overloaded and just like this little thing, and there's swipes and there's taps, and like the half click thing is really hard to do. It's very strange. I know you can change some of the accessibility stuff about the force needed, but it just feels like it's like Apple had a bunch of ideas and no one said no to any of them. And that's not great, because I worry, like, I agree with Federico, like at the heart of this, like, I love clicking it to open the camera and taking a picture. And
yes,
I almost wonder if that should have been the default. And then if you want to turn on these other things, this is how you go do that. I worry that people are going to be confused. I mean, playing with it this weekend, I was like, I'm in a mode, I don't know how to get out of it. Or like, I thought I was doing this and this other thing happened. I worry people are just going to bounce off of it, and it's not going to get the use that it could get if it were simpler.
Yeah. I have yet to meet in real life anybody that I show the 16 Pro or the 16 Plus to with camera control that understands how to navigate those extra options or gets the full click and half press right within minutes. Like, it's just, I think it's also, like Steven said, it's a problem of defaults. And I feel like by default, it should have just been a shutter button, and just, and the nerds like us could have gone into settings and enabled the additional gestures. But having those enabled by default confuses the message and confuses the interaction, right? Because it makes it more difficult. And you're like, what am I supposed to do here, right? It's just, you sold me this as a camera button, but it's now showing me all these extra things, and I don't know how to exit. And it's not as intuitive as, arguably the dynamic island, because it's also like the menu in the camera is very tiny, right? You're having this vertical menu along the bezel. Like, it's not as big and chunky as the dynamic island. So yeah, I don't know. If like I it's the kind of thing where you look at it in screenshots and you look at it in promo videos and it looks excellent. Like, it makes a great visual impression. But in practice, I'm not even arguing about the placement of the button. Like, I've seen people on threads, people on social in general, like, it's too high, or somebody saying, oh, it's too low. Like, I think the placement of the button is fine. I'm more concerned about the default interaction of it and all the other stuff I said about customization.
Yeah, I think with the placement, they were trying to split the difference between horizontal and vertical content capture.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope that, there are signs of Apple iterating on this already, right? In 18.1, you're going to have more settings for actually disabling the light presses if you want to. That's all that stuff is going to be available in accessibility.
I have all that off, and so mine now is just open the camera and a shutter button.
Same, and I love it, for that, right?
Me too.
I just feel bad knowing that there's more that it could do, but I don't like it. Is my issue. Like, I know that there's all the other half of that interaction that, unfortunately, right now it's not for me. I love it as a shutter button. I mean, the way this camera control has rewired my brain and my fingers in not reaching for the bottom of the lock screen anymore and not even swiping on the lock screen to open the camera, but just pressing the button is wild. And it happened in just a few days. So I love it as a shutter button, but it's everything else that so and so. And also there's going to be a selfie camera option in 18.1.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, they are iterating on it, and I hope they continue to do so. And
also at some point, I don't know if this will be 18.1, but they're doing the thing where you can set focus with the light press.
That is also something I'm looking forward to. And hopefully, like, I expect that at least in the iOS 18 cycle, we are gonna get more options to say, okay, maybe if you double light press, you never get the menu again. You can just assign a specific function, which is what I want.
There's precedent for this, right? Remember all the changes and options they had for always on display, like after it launched? Like they kept coming up with new stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think I like it more than you guys do, or at least I'm willing to accept it more. But I think I agree that there should be more options, and I'm happy with the ones that they're working on. Photographic styles update. I want to know where you're all sitting with your photo styles. Federico, what are you doing?
I am doing standard and tone between minus 0.5, 0.7 within that
and
range.
what is that benefiting for you, the tone change? Like, what do you
I feel like it brings up the shadows a little bit more than the default. I have come to really dislike the default look of iPhone photos. And so it makes them... It gives photos a little extra punch, they a little more contrasty, but not too much, because I also don't like, I've seen like people going full like negative tone to really bring out I don't like that look, but just somewhere half, in between, that makes me appreciate the look of my photos a bit more. They're less flat, is what I'm trying to say.
Stephen, what about you?
I've been playing with the neutral photographic style.
Okay.
Just the one out of the box. I haven't tinkered with it any more than that. And I like it. It may be a touch cool for me. I feel like it does a good job with the shadows, but maybe I could do that with standard. And like Federico said, bring the tone down. So I feel very much like I'm still experimenting. And that's cool because these things are editable. So if I feel like I really messed this up, it's not the end of the world, which is nice.
Yeah, I was using Vibrant. I've now settled on Gold. I just think in general that does a good job of bringing the warmth into images, which I really enjoy. And I'm still tinkering too. And I love that this is essentially like a very simplified version of quite a complex photo editing system that they've built. Like, I think photographic styles as they are now is one of the most important things Apple has done on the iPhone in a very long time, because they are addressing something like a general feeling that people have in a way that does not mean that they have to make any particular statement about how images should look.
It's the most elegant and well-designed rendition of, I don't know, man, you do it.
Yeah.
That Apple could make.
And like, actually, you can compare this, I think, quite nicely to the camera control, where, as I said, I have some issues around some of the labeling of photographic styles, but like the general way that you manage and deal with the photos once you're taking them, it's incredible. Like the little touchpad that they have essentially to change the way an image looks is just fantastic. I would like more. I would like to be able to save things, like the settings that I have, like save them as kind of recipes and label them. And I actually do believe that they will do that, because the old version of photographic styles kind of let you do that. Like once you set something, it saved it as like a new version of it. But yeah, I think this is truly fantastic and is going to, in general, I think really change people's opinion of the iPhone camera, which I think is only a good thing.
Now, hear me out, okay? Photographic styles, presets, as you mentioned, tied to focus modes.
Oh.
Okay? So when you're at work and you take your pictures, they look pretty standard. But then when you're home, and now your pictures are rose gold.
Now they got some warmth in them because you like being there.
Yeah.
Or like you go to your parents' house and it's black and white because they're old, you know?
Yeah.
No, I like it.
Anything else camera-wise?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's I think all the camera stuff is good, and I like I like in particular the much better ultra wide, going to that 48 megapixel sensor. I feel like
which I don't have anymore.
Which you don't have anymore, but the two of us do.
Sorry.
You'll get it. You'll get it in a couple years, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's nice when you do like the punch in for macro mode. It looks really good. This episode of Connected is brought to you by Vitally. Vitally is bringing a new era of customer service productivity with their all-in-one platform. Vitaly's collaborative workspace combines your customer data with all the capabilities you expect from today's project management and work platforms. And with Vitally, you can measure the effectiveness of OKRs and operational strategies on customer outcomes at scale, thanks to this really cool Goals feature. Goals allows you to track the progress of your accounts against target metrics, meaning you can standardize goal setting across the board, so you know exactly how effective your processes really are. And best of all, it's designed for today's customer success team. Vitally operates with unparalleled efficiency, improves net revenue retention, and delivers best-in-class customer experiences. Vitally is offering a free pair of AirPods Pro for every Connected listener who books a qualified meeting. So if you're a customer success decision maker, schedule your call by visiting vitally.io/connected. That's Vitally, Vitally, vitally.io/connected for a free pair of AirPods Pro when you schedule a qualified meeting. Our thanks to Vitally for the support of the show and all of Relay. We had a question from listener Sims. Now that camera control is here, what are you doing with your action button? I remember Federico's multi-button shortcut. Is that still in use?
Excellent timing for this question, because just last night I finally came up with what I think is my new favorite use case for the action button. I've been using my own multi-button shortcut for the past year, basically. And it's always been tied through its initial different versions that I tested, but I settled eventually on the first press triggers a shortcut to create a reminder, and the second press triggers my Apple Frames shortcut, which I used, but not as much as I thought I would. What I came up with last night, which I don't know, I've observed my behavior today with the phone, like it's already sort of become second nature, which is usually a pretty good sign. 18.1, the latest beta, 18.1 beta 5, which I think equals to 18.1 public beta 2, introduces a new show control center action in shortcuts. Now, this action, you can modify so that it either shows, hides, or toggles control center, which means
pretty sweet.
It toggles the state. Like if it's visible, it hides. If it's not shown, it brings out control center. So I have assigned this toggle control center shortcut to the action button, and it's been a game changer for me because I don't need to swipe. I don't need to reach to the top right corner of the screen anymore. I can just press the action button. it toggles control center. And what I'm even considering now is actually placing my most used controls like physically around the action button, right? So that if I'm going there with my thumb anyway, I might as well also place my most used controls around it. So yeah, invoking control center with the action button is going to be possible with the 18.1, and that's what I'm using it for at the moment.
Very nice. My action button is basically the same as it's always been since I set it up, which was based on an idea that you gave me, Federico. It was before it launched, and you said, like, we're on the Mac, I can set a keyboard shortcut to add a to-do. And so, like, that like completely locked in for me of like something that I do want a lot. Like, I'm in my email or whatever, and I see something, I want to make a task. So when I hit my action button, it runs a shortcut that I made where there's a text box that says, "What's your task?" I type it in. It asks me a second text box, which is like, "When do you want this due?" And then it like I format the date into a way that shortcuts can understand in shortcuts, right? Because you can do like the date formatting actions. Then it asks me, where do you want to save this, Todoist or due? Because they're different types of things for me. Due is like, I want to remember to do something like take a pill in 3 hours or whatever. It's not going to go in Todoist. And if I choose Todoist, it asks me the project and then it saves it. And if it asks due, then it just saves it immediately. So I love this. I use it multiple times a day, every single day. I do have a question for you, Federico. So my Todoist action, they've made some changes recently. I've been working with the support people because they broke some stuff in shortcuts, and I'm very happy they fixed it. But there used to be a show when run, like, and it would pop up a little thing when it was completed. And the Todoist support team say that Apple removed that ability, which I don't think is accurate.
Wait, what?
Yeah, okay, cool.
No.
Cool. I'm just checking. I thought that they didn't know what they unfortunately were talking about. But their action no longer shows when run. They used to have a checkbox that you could mark that on, so it would like show you that you'd completed it and like give you the preview of the task you'd added. It now doesn't do that, so I've just like cobbled together my own one with like show me the title and the text and the date, so I get an idea of how everything was formatted in the end. But yeah, okay, cool. It doesn't do that anymore. They say that Apple removed that feature, and I think that they're wrong. And so that's cool. Now I have the answer from that from the shortcuts man himself. So, but yeah, that's what I do. I love it. What do you do, Steven?
I was using a shortcut that just gave me a text field and put that into reminders in the inbox due today, so I could just sort it out later. But after I saw Federico's post, I changed it to Control Center, and I kind of digging it. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm kind of in limbo now.
So you both really using Control Center? Like, you're like really using it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
Now, like, I haven't been running iOS 18 as long as you both have. So like, it's Control Center is new for me still. So like, I'm still kind of like settling in. But that's interesting. I have put a couple of shortcuts in there, which I like. Some of my most used shortcuts are now in Control Center. I like that as a thing.
The big three, if you will, for me are
is it ray tracing? CPU. Gamers, it's a gamer's joke.
Yeah, gamers rise. No, like the three types of controls that really make it worthy for me are the now playing control, especially when I'm like listening to something like Discover Weekly on Spotify, for example, and I want to skip tracks, like having that like right there in Control Center, very useful. Control with two accessories, two specific lights that I frequently turn on and off on a daily basis, and a shortcut to reopen my Quick Notes folder in the Notes app. Just like, I don't know, and it's very fast. Like having all of those controls there, and you, especially now with the action button, you just press, shows, click, boom, done. Like it's very quick, and I like it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's in a way like you can make a better multi-button.
Yes.
Right? Because you could just press it once and then access like a bunch of things that you do all the time.
Like it actually shows you a bunch of shortcuts if you want to.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, and even Control Center, like it's also getting much better in 18.1. They are they're gonna provide more like individual controls for the wireless radio stuff. So like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular. Like it used to be all lumped together in a single tile control. In 18.1, they're gonna be, if you want, there's gonna be like individual controls, like so just Wi-Fi or just Bluetooth, just cellular, and so forth, which is also nice. But yeah, control center, it's very nice.
Pretty good. What about lock screen buttons? Have you done anything with that, Federico?
Flashlight, because I couldn't think of a better place for it. So that one stayed. I replaced the camera with a shortcut that is like a very simple thing to add a new quick note. So just like anything I want to save, an idea, a number, whatever, like just having that right there, press save a quick note. That's it.
There isn't a quick note, like
there's not a quick note control, which is I had to create a shortcut with a single action that says add quick note.
No, there is one in 18.1.
Wait.
Yeah, because that's one of the ones I've been playing with.
Oh, cool. Even better. So I don't have to use my shortcut anymore.
Yeah.
look at that.
Who's the editor-in-chief now?
Oh, quick note. Okay. Weird. I
how that works?
search for this. Oh, yeah. But it basically does the same thing, but cool.
Yeah.
It's got a better icon.
I found the search on the actions to be kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
I'm using flashlight. I just don't think anyone should change that. Like flashlight is great to have, and it's great to have there, and the UI goes so hard. Like why not?
Mm-hmm.
And my second one, I've replaced the camera with one of my most used shortcuts, which is it's a time tracking shortcut where if I realize I've done a thing and didn't track that time, it just basically says how long have you been working on that thing and where should it have gone to, and then it just adds it in timery.
The true power move is 2 flashlights.
So you can just always be flashing.
Is you never know when you're gonna need them.
Well,
That's true. That's true. That was a good post, Steven, by the way.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about Apple's definition of a photo. Federico, you had linked to this. It's this quote from The Verge's iPhone review, I think. Tell us about this.
So I was really impressed with this bit in Nilay Patel's review of the iPhones. They were able to get a quote from John McCormack, Apple's vice president of camera software engineering. And I'm just going to quote this and because I want to talk about it. Here's our view of what a photograph is. The way we like to think of it is that it's a personal celebration of something that really actually happened. Whether that's a simple thing like a fancy cup of coffee that's got some cool design on it, all the way through to my kids' first steps or my parents' last breath, it's something that really happened. It's something that is a marker in my life, and it's something that deserves to be celebrated. I love this, and there's more to the quote, but just like the essential part that I want to discuss. I love the way they're thinking about this. And especially, I like the idea of celebrating even the sad moments. Not celebrating like cheering for obviously someone's passing, but like celebrating, remembering a moment, the good ones and the bad ones. That's Apple is saying this is the role of photography, right? In history. The good moments and the bad moments, there are, if I can add to that, there are dozens, hundreds of historic photographs of terrible things that happened in human history. Yeah. Or like the role of photography is to document, is to remember all those moments, because you don't get to, unfortunately in life, you don't get to cherry pick the type of life where you only live great moments, right? There's going to be good ones, there's going to be bad ones. And the role of photography, the way I think of it, and I'm pleased to hear that Apple is thinking along the same lines, is it's something that happened, whether it's good or bad, and it's something that you can remember and that our camera can help you remember. And it's in direct contrast to what companies like Samsung are saying. Samsung is saying, what is even, there are no real pictures anymore. Nothing is real. And there's Google saying, well, it's actually more about how you remember something. It's more about the memory rather than the actual fact, than the actual moment. So Google is taking the sort of relativistic approach, like, yeah, everybody's recollection is different, so we don't particularly care about reality.
Yeah, it's like Google is saying, like, oh, we want you to create a memory, and Apple's like, we want you to capture a memory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So on paper, in theory, I look at this quote and I'm like, I'm very glad that I'm using a phone, because there's people at Apple that think these kind of thoughts that I agree with. On the other hand, I am curious to see how Apple over time will reconcile these thoughts with the upcoming reality of Apple Intelligence and the rollout of features that will alter photography and moments for what they are. There's going to be one immediately coming with 18.1, which is cleanup. But there's going to be more. And I'm curious if Apple's rather beautiful stance on this matter, how it will bump against the reality of Craig Federighi coming down from the mountain saying, well, you gotta do AI, teams at Apple, I don't care, I think it's fun, you gotta do it. So that'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I love this quote, and it is being rightly applauded, but I do look at it with a bit of a side eye of like, is this going to remain forever?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's image playgrounds? What is that? Like, obviously you're not making photos, but like, what is the thinking behind why you would create a fake image of any kind? Right? Like, how does that fit into any of this? Like, how I would love someone similarly to tell me why they are creating image playgrounds, like what role they imagine that to.
I don't think it's fun.
Right. So, like, is it fun to add generative AI to regular photos?
Well, we'll see, I guess, right?
Right. Google thinks so. Right? Google thinks so because they put it in the Pixel. Like, so I just wonder, like, this is great. I cannot be comfortable in believing that this is how they will always approach this.
I am gonna say something. I mean, you know me, I don't care about the consequences. Well, to a degree. But I think this one is pretty safe. This quote and this very direct explanation is the most Steve Jobs quote I've read from Apple in the post-Steve Jobs era.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. This could be a quote in Thoughts on Photos or something, couldn't it? Yeah.
Like, here's a view of what a photograph is. Like, here's the thing. Like, it's pretty much Apple saying, here's the thing. We believe in this. And whether you like it or not, this is what we believe in. I love this attitude. Like, it's why this quote resonates. Because we have gotten so used to this very polished image of Apple PR and Tim Cook, but obviously Apple PR in general. And this is like, this is a quote that obviously comes from a person, in the sense that it's not like Apple PR, not people, but like it's a very direct, very humane quote, I think.
Mm-hmm. It has emotion.
It has emotion, which is
and it's complicated and like complex and deep, and there's a lot going on in there. And so like I love it. I want to believe it, but I'm not just going to straight believe it.
Like, I almost wish that there was a way for me to sign up for a subscription that gets me this version of Apple.
I'd love that.
Federico? Give me more of these quotes and these opinions. Like, Apple One opinionated, I guess, call it. I don't care. Like, but like this is this quote. It made me feel so good, because like I was like, yes, this is the company that this is like the attitude that I like.
Well, there is the problem that if this quote is truly Steve Jobsian, they will just go against it when they want to, right? Because he did do that, right? Like he would make a lot of very strong statements until it was time for him to not believe that anymore, and then he would just go ahead and do that thing.
Sure.
Maybe it will be a true job statement.
But it's a great quote. It's a great way to think about the role of photography in history. We'll see how long we'll see if this quote can last as long as photography did, according to Apple. I have my doubts.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by our friends at Backblaze. Backblaze are the folks looking after your digital data with their unlimited computer backup for macOS and Windows for just $99 a year. You can protect all of your data automatically without ever having to think about it. And it's not just for personal use either. Backblaze is great for businesses. You can protect the whole team's data through a centrally managed admin console. And it's easy to deploy Backblaze across multiple workstations with silent and link-based deployment options. And the Enterprise Control add-on includes granular access permissions, advanced single sign-on options, group management controls, and compliance support. You're in safe hands with Backblaze. They really know their stuff. They're recommended by the New York Times, Inc. Magazine, Macworld, PC World, LifeWire, Wired, Tom's Guide, 9to5Mac, and more. And look, Backblaze is running in my Mac's menu bar right now. With Backblaze, you can access your backed up data from anywhere in the world using their web app or their iOS and Android apps. That's super handy if you need to go fetch a file. I've been using Backblaze for years and years. I lost a bunch of data in college, and when that happened, I swore it would never happen again. Backblaze offers multiple restore options, including rapid recovery via USB hard drive shipped to you in the event of data loss or ransomware. You just pay a refundable fee and all your data will be sent to you directly. So visit backblaze.com/connected so they know where you came from and continue their support. Backblaze has restored over 55 billion files for their customers. So don't be that person who forgot to back up their important documents, photos, and more. Receive a fully featured no-risk free trial at backblaze.com/connected. So go there and start protecting yourself from a data disaster. Our thanks to Backblaze for their support of the show and all of Relay.
Something else that I got, which I absolutely love, and I have actually no notes here, is the AirPods 4 with noise cancellation. They're everything I was hoping for. They obviously do not cancel as much external noise as the AirPods Pro with in-ear tips do, but they cancel more than I was expecting. And I just feel like they did the thing. They did exactly what people wanted. Great balance of price and some of the features of AirPods Pro in a device that doesn't require that you use in-ear tips. I have already sold 2 people in my life on this, and I've actually, I've seen one of my friends today came up to me and was like, "I got them." I think these are gonna be a massive success with people, and I just loved using them. Again, no notes, perfect update here for me. For the shape of my ears.
Sure. Yeah. And that's always what these things come down to. Like, I had a chance to try them and they weren't comfortable, but man, I really loved the tiny case. The little case is so good.
The tiny case is adorable and good and very portable, and I love it.
I got to try Jason's. Like, he got the reunites. I put them in and it immediately fell out of my left ear. I've always had a problem in my left ear with headphones. And I was immediately reminded of how AirPods would just fall out all the time. Like, even my AirPods Pro, over time, they're going to work their way out of there. So, yeah, this set just doesn't work for me. But I'm fine with that because I have the headphones that I like. And I'm really happy that Apple is offering multiple products that do these features. I'm wearing some headphones right now that I really wish they added more features to in the new edition. But they at least have a version of noise cancellation in all of their AirPod line now, which I just think is good. I think it's great that they have those options available for people, like people who really can't suffer the silicone tips, which I thought I was going to be one of those people, but Apple made a version that works enough for me, and I'm happy with it. But yeah, I think it's great. I would love to see them try to do something like the Beats ones now. Like the ones that go like over your ears. Like they kind of clip on. What do they call like the Power Beats or whatever? Let's just make some AirPods too. Let's just go crazy.
Yeah, Power Beats Pro, I think. Those are the ones that my wife really likes. She
Yeah.
is doing a bunch of workouts and jumping around and kickboxing people in the air, and she's always
In the
sworn by
air?
those.
Wow. Did you see the nothing open ear headphones?
Yeah.
Did you see these?
Yeah.
I saw.
They look
those.
so good.
They look weird
look-
and cool.
yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, make something like that too. Let's go wild with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree.
US,
I know
it
you
could
love
be AirPods 4 with active noise cancellation and ear loop. Just
There
keep
you go.
adding modifiers.
Why not?
Yep.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Very strange earphones, but they're cool.
Shall we talk about Apple Watch? Because
Yeah.
I also have, I have brought, as you've seen, I've started this episode with a menu of questions in the pre-show,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have brought a full course of opinions and thoughts.
We're on like a Federico tasting menu
Yes.
today.
Phrasing.
I think of the three of us, you're the only one with the Series 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I
Okay.
think that's accurate.
Yeah.
Mixed feelings about it so far. The slim profile is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's lovely that it's so light, so much thinner than an Apple Watch Ultra. I really dig it, visually speaking, and like on my wrist, it feels very nice. The speaker. So I had high expectations for finding something. I've been chasing, I guess, this idea of an always-on wearable speaker, right? It's the best part of the Meta Ray-Bans for me. The fact that these are actually pretty decent speakers that I don't need to manage, because as long as I'm wearing my glasses, I also have speakers to listen to podcasts or music. And I had high expectations for the Series 10 to sort of become an alternative to that use case. And it's kind of halfway there. And I think it mostly comes down to how audio playback is managed on watchOS, but also the kinds of apps that I'm using. Most apps, they do not default to like playing audio via the Series 10 speakers. So like there's always going to be like a menu that you need to go in and say, no, I want to play via the Apple Watch speaker. And I kind of wish there was a setting for me to say, no, just, if I tell you so, just default to the speakers. Like, don't ask me if I want to play on my phone. Don't ask me if I want to wear AirPods. Just go straight to the speaker. But more specifically, I'm using Spotify as my music and podcast app now, and I have for the past 3 weeks at this point. And it's just the fact that the Spotify experience on the watch kind of sucks. And this is not Apple's fault; it's Spotify's fault, right? Sometimes when in Spotify, I manually switch from iPhone playback to Apple Watch playback, it resets the position in an episode I'm listening to. So that's terrible. But also, the Watch app of Spotify does not have playback speed controls. I listen to all my shows at 1.3 or 1.4x, and Spotify on the Watch does not have playback speed. So all this to say, this is not Apple's fault. It's just the way that watch apps are designed, and the watch app that I specifically am using is not making me appreciate the built-in speaker as much as I hoped it would. The big issue that I'm having now is, well, actually two big issues. One, I'm pretty disappointed that despite the screen size being as big or even technically bigger than an Apple Watch Ultra, I don't have the modular ultra watch face.
Yeah.
And it's silly because like it's literally the same. It's actually 1 millimeter more, right, than the Ultra, because this is 46, the Ultra is 45. But I don't have that watch face, and like the entire situation with watch faces on watchOS is so silly that they actually removed some watch faces in watchOS 11. And the fact that I have this big watch, but that the Ultra is 49. Well, I why was I convinced that the Ultra was 45? The case size, but the display.
Yeah.
I mean, the display is basically the same, right?
The display's bigger. It's really confusing.
It's
The
very
display
confusing.
on the Series 10 is larger than the display on the Apple Watch Ultra, but the Apple Watch Ultra is physically bigger than the Series 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
But as long as I'm talking about software, like give me
Yep.
that what there's plenty space here, right? There's plenty of space on this display. Like let me use the ultra modular face.
Well, they won't let you do it because you don't have an Apple Watch Ultra. It's bananas. Like I feel like once you've bought it, give me it everywhere. Like why have I got to lock it in?
Like this is not the place to have opinions. Like
Yeah.
you know. The other problem though is once you get used to battery life on the Ultra, man, going back to a non-Ultra watch is rough. I need to charge this thing every day, essentially. Whereas with the
Mhm.
Ultra, you could do it every couple of days. And I've been using the Ultra One, the first gen, for almost 2 years at this point. Because I remember I got the Ultra One in December or January of two. So it's almost 2 years ago. And I've gotten so used to the idea of like, yeah, I can charge it quickly every couple of days. Here, I get to the end of the day because I also sleep with the watch, right? And I get to the end of the day, I'm like, well, I got to charge it. It's an everyday thing again. And I thought I was past it. So the combination of these things, I don't think I will keep it. I think I will probably go back to the Ultra. So you got that interesting contrast, right? With the iPhone, I decided to sort of downsize and scale back to the regular model. But with the watch, even though I'm not an extremely active person, I'm not into any of those types of workout that the
climbing.
Ultra is in theory designed for. But because of a different reason, I'm actually thinking that the high-end model was better for me. So I think it's an interesting contrast that I find myself facing this year. And right now, despite the very nice design and the slim profile and everything, I am leaning toward being an ultra boy again.
So this is the battery life is my biggest concern because I've gotten
Mhm.
so used to the fantastic battery life on the Ultra. But I do look in the same way that I want to use the Pro. Like, I want all of the features that I can have, and I feel like the Ultra watch has a lot of features, but not necessarily the ones that I want. And I'm concerned now, like with the way that they've updated it this year, that like these watches are going to be off, like revision from each other, and the series watches will probably get more of the features that I want and care about than the Ultra watch will. And like the features the Ultra watch will get are the things that are not so important to me, like it can dive further,
Yeah.
so I'm
It doesn't
thinking
come up a lot, huh?
does not really, not for me. So I do think I'm going to jump to Series 10. I need to go do a try on. My main issue, so I want the gold watch. My main issue is the band selection right now.
Oh yeah, that's almost as bad as the watch faces.
Yeah, because my favorite Apple Watch band of all time is the magnetic leather link bracelet. But now it's made of fine woven rather than leather. And I saw one of those the other day. We went to the Apple Store, I picked one up, and it just doesn't feel what I want it to feel like. I have one of the leather ones that's kind of new, but now I'm like, I don't want to wear it because I'm like, I don't want to wreck
It's
it because I love
collectible,
this
baby.
band so much. And then so looking at the gold watch, the gold link bracelet, I love it. No, that is a very specific product for a very specific type of person. I happen to be that person. I don't know if I can pull it off, but I will want to wear it anyway. The problem is, it is expensive. Not as expensive as I thought it would be, but it's expensive. But it's just listed as unavailable. Like, what does that even mean? Like, there's no date on it at all. It's just, it's unavailable. So I guess, okay. And I just feel like in general, the color choices in the bands, I don't like them this season. And what I want is the braided loop with a clasp. I really like the way the braided loop looks, but I don't want a watch that I pull on and off like that. Like, I want to take my watch off and put my watch on. I don't want to like pull it over my hand. Like, that is not that's not something I want to do. So I don't know. There's what I'm considering doing if I do go for this watch. I'm considering doing something I've never done before, which is actually looking outside of Apple for watch bands.
Okay.
Like, there are
Ooh.
so many companies that make them,
Yeah.
right?
And a lot of them are really good.
I'm sure they are, and I've never really paid them much attention. But I think I might do that. You know, like looking at what Nomad, Native Union, I think. But like, I know Nomad make lots of watch bands. So
Yeah.
I might look at those too. That might be an option for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I dig it. I went to the store and saw the black Ultra 2. It looks really awesome.
Oh no, don't
It's
tell me
beautiful.
this.
Oh my
Don't
God, it's
tell
so
me
good
this.
looking.
No, I
It's
didn't do
real
anything.
nice.
I'm staying with my Ultra 1. And even though the battery life is not what it once was, I can still get through about a day and a half. And so I'm just being a little bit more selective with my charging. But I'm going to keep the Ultra 1. And I did pick up the new bands in black. So the Ocean band I'm wearing right now with and these bands, the new Ultra bands, you can select if you want the hardware or the lugs, if they have metal lugs, to be the natural titanium or the black. So I got the natural Ocean band in black, and I really like it. And I'm going to keep this thing on my wrist for another year. It's still an awesome watch. There's really no features of the Ultra 2 that I feel like I'm missing out on, and I get to keep blood oxygen because Apple, for some reason, has not resolved that issue. So I'm staying put. But the black one, had there been an Ultra 3, I'd be wearing a black one right now.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, you'd lose the blood oxygen sensor, right?
Yeah. So I'm monitoring my my blood oxygen.
Isn't it wild that they haven't resolved that? That's mad that there's like
Yeah.
no solution to that yet. It's just like, oh, you just lose that.
It-
So like part of the Vitals app just wouldn't work, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Huh.
Apple should fix it. Well, I think that does it for this week. We've got a bunch of links for you to check out. The most important one, of course, stjude.org/relay. Go donate, sign up to do your own fundraiser, sign up for corporate matching, all sorts of fun stuff over there. You can also send us feedback or follow up at relay.fm/connected. There's also a link in the show notes to the feedback form. And of course, you can become a member, get Connected Pro, which is the longer ad-free version of the show each and every week. This week, Federico and Mike quizzed me about my 20th high school reunion that I went to this weekend.
Mhm.
And it was a good time had by all.
Federico had some fantastic questions that you do not want to miss.
Really took me for a surprise.
Mm-hmm. This one question will leave you surprised. Get connectedpro.co.
That almost sounded like a an introduction to a game in a Nintendo Direct video. The next game.
Oh.
Well, the next
Next up.
question.
The next question will leave you surprised.
Click.
You can find our work across the internet. Federico is the editor-in-chief of MacStories.net, and you can follow him on Mastodon and Threads as Vitici. Just search for him there. Mike is the host of a bunch of other shows here on Relay. I will echo what Federico said. The last couple of upgrades have been absolutely excellent.
Oh.
And you can find him as iMike across Mastodon and Threads. You can find me as ISMH86 and my writing at 512pixels.net. And I said it earlier, but I'll say it again. This coming Mac Power Users episode, we talk about iPhone impressions, but we also get deep into macOS Sequoia, iOS 18. We didn't do that here this time just due to timing and stuff, but go check out MPU on Sunday when that comes out. I'd like to thank our sponsors for making this episode possible: Ecamm, ZocDoc, Vitally, and Backblaze. And until next time, guys, say goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.
Bye, y'all.